Hey everybody, we got a real treat for you today. One y'all been waiting for, and we finally got the chance to sit down. Y'all recognize that model sitting back there? All right, well, we ain't gonna hold you in suspense. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Alan.
I hear that. Got Dan and Nick here with him, and we want to sit down and just be able to hear the story. I mean, it's such a long story, probably a lot to hear, a lot to tell, but I mean,
There's a lot to it.
basically, it'd be good if you like start with your dad and growing up, and just take it from there.
All right. When Will and I were very young, little boys, excuse me, Daddy was building skiffs behind our house. He had a boat shop back there, and he worked with Captain Johnny Belvin up in Dandy, and figured out the tricks to the trade and what have you, and he started building them for people, and his business grew. He was working at NASA full time, but he would build boats on weekends and at night, and Will and I would help him every night and every Saturday, and he would build a 16-foot dead rise skiff, no paint, no nail filler, just a dead rise skiff for $250. And then he started fiberglassing them, and after that he started building the boat trailers to go with them. So he would build you a boat and a trailer, and if you bought the motor, he'd put it on for you. And he sold quite a few of them. In his lifetime, he built 112 boats and many dead rise skiffs. Back when we were little, back in the 50s, if you had a 16 or 18-foot dead rise and an 18-horse Evinrude, you were the king of the creek. I mean, that was just the thing, you know. All the young guys wanted them, and they had a pair of water skis and a girlfriend most of the time. And Sunday afternoon, Bennett's Creek was full of them. And Odell was building them, Johnny Belvin was building them, and Daddy was building them. And there was just a very big demand for them. There was nothing else, you know. It was just nothing else to do. And then when we moved down to Church Road where the boatyard is, Daddy moved up to a little bit bigger boat, and the demand got bigger. He started building 23, 24-foot fishing boats, bay fishing boats. And he started putting Volvo inboard outboards in them. He got a Volvo dealership, and as time went on, he built a railway down there, and he started overhauling boats, and he kind of slowed up on the building part of it and started just overhauling boats. But when he was a boy, he worked for Captain Clyde Smith down at Darlin's Railway between his years in high school, because his dad had died, and that's where he learned to build log canoes. And he built the last log canoe built in Virginia back in the 80s. And she is the, what's the name of it, boys?
Holly June.
Holly June. And she's still down at his boatyard today. And she, as far as I know, she was the last one built in Virginia. But he learned that skill from Captain Clyde Smith, who was a renowned canoe builder, and he fell in love with the railway business when he was a boy working down at Darlin's, overhauling them big boats and what have you. And he always wanted a railway, and when he got that place down at the end of Church Road there, he built him a railway, and he went in the railway business. And shortly after that, he retired from NASA and went in the railway business full time. And during all these years, Will and I were helping him and working with him, and we picked up the trade. And personally, I built 3 boats between my junior and senior year in high school. I built a 12-footer, an 18-footer, and a 16-footer, dead-rise skiffs. And I've been doing it ever since. I worked at NASA for 37 years, but all through those years, I worked on boats, and I just love them, that's all. It's in your blood, you can't do anything about it. It's a hell of a disease, I will say that. It's a hard thing. But recently, the demand has just diminished to nearly nothing. Nobody wants a wooden boat anymore. Not many people can afford to pay for one of them. And it's all because of labor costs, mostly because of labor costs. Materials are high, but when you add labor of a real boat building carpenter, you get right into a lot of money. So that trade has pretty much died out. But after I was married and these two boys were born, I built a shop down on Church Road, and I started building work boats. And I built probably 9 or 10 boats in that shop. And I built one before I built the shop, actually. I built one out in the yard named the Southern Lady. That was my first one. And she's still around today. I went from there to, I married Trudy, and Trudy is born and raised in Pocosin waterman stuff. Her dad was a waterman, her granddad, and so on and so forth. And so she's always loved wooden boats and work boats and boats in general. And so she and I moved into yachting, or I guess is what you'd call it. But we converted a Smiley Jenkins diamond stern work boat. She was the Sea Spray. She belonged to James Wilbur Firth, and James Wilbur sold her to Ed Firth. And when Ed got sick and died, his wife Margaret saw to it that I was able to get that boat, and that was kind of the start of our cruising career. We refurbished that boat from one end to the other, and made more of a yacht than a work boat out of it. And that wasn't good enough for us, so we had to get a fiberglass boat. So then we got a Viking, a 33-foot Viking, twin engine, and I worked on it more than I did the wooden one. So I went back to a wooden boat, and when I did, I went big. I went to the East Hampton, which is a 65-foot Chesapeake Bay Deadrise deck boat, and she was nice. She had very little bad wood, and she was a big, able girl. And we spent many hours and days working on and enjoying that boat. And by the time all of that happened, Dan and Nick were old enough to participate and help me. And I couldn't have done what I did with that boat without these two boys. And that's been going on ever since. Everything I do, I can't do it without them. I'm just too old now, and but they do the heavy lifting, and I buy the materials and do the shopping and do logistical part of it, and they do the back-breaking labor. But we have a lot of fun doing it, and there's nothing in the world I'd rather do. We had many boats in our family life, and the East Hampton was the queen of all of them. We just absolutely love that boat, and still do. And we have her here now, as a matter of fact, overhauling her. And she is going to be in really good condition when we get finished with her. She is in excellent condition, and soon to be put over. We're going to put her over probably next week, and she belongs to a gentleman in Chestertown, Maryland. And she'll be going back up there in a couple of weeks for a festival. Then she'll be coming back to Pocosin to stay at the Surf Rider at the marina, and the Surf Rider as a permanent home until such time as they make different arrangements in their lives. And so our job is going to be to keep our eye on her and take care of her and baby her, if you will. And we kind of do that with Linda Carroll for Bill Mullis, and we did it for Iva W. for almost 10 years. Completely rebuilt that boat and maintained it for him every winter, and he has recently sold her, and we have not heard from the new buyer, so I don't really know what's going on with her. But Trudy and I belong to the Chesapeake Bay Boat Association. We are founding members, and we go on the deck boat reunion every summer and participate, and we just love our deck boats. So I guess you could say my first love is dead-rise boats, and if I have a secondary, it would be deck boats, oyster buy boats, what have you, whatever you call them. We just call them deck boats. Some of them bought oysters and some of them didn't. East Hampton never bought oysters that I know of. She was a crab dredger and she went flounder fishing in the summertime. But it's been a real great thing for me and my family, and we've enjoyed many hours of work and play on that boat. And I will tell you, and I will tell anybody, and I have for years, she has introduced me to more great friends than I ever could have thought was possible. We have friends up and down the bay because they recognize that boat and they recognize us, and it's really brought us close to a lot of good friends. So we're very happy that we had her, and had I been a little more healthy, I probably would have kept her for a little longer, but my knees got bad and I just couldn't do the work, and so we had to sell her. Sold her 15 years ago, and the new buyer is not a boat builder type guy. He's a businessman, and so he depends on other people to take care of her for him, and they haven't done a great job. I mean, they've done okay, but she's not in the shape she would have been in if I had her. But she is now that we have reworked her. Dan is in charge of that overhaul and doing a fantastic job. Nick and I just put new waist and monkey rail on the P.E. Pruitt for Wayne Hudgens in Matthews. So plenty of work to do. Just wish I was young enough to do it. Unfortunately, I see Jimmy on here and Francis and all, and I look at them and I say, these people too old to be building boats. and I know because I'm one of them, just too old to do it anymore. But love doing it, love every minute of it. So I don't know what I would do if I had to stop.
Well, I can tell you that your reputation precedes you wherever you go, and building the boats has slowed down, but everybody that has a wooden boat wants Dave Rollins to put his touch on them. When they see inside the Linda Carroll and everything, they saw what you did with the East Hampton originally, and I mean, everybody, that's what they all want, so I'm sure you got plenty of work coming to you from wooden boats.
Well, we think so. We think the quality of our work speaks for itself, and it's not about work, it's about loving it. I mean, we absolutely, I think these boys both love the boats, they love the work, they enjoy doing it, and we realize that there aren't many left, not many at all. Most of our customers come to us with the same complaint. I can't get anybody to do it for me, and I can't get anybody to do it the way I want it done, and those kinds of complaints. And so we do kind of monopolize the market on that particular deal.
Well, that's rewarding too. I mean, it's rewarding when you get done and you put a fresh lipstick on them and put them back in the water. They look like brand new again.
Right.
Just makes you feel good inside.
We're shooting for better than that. We're repowering a lot of these 50, 60-year-old boats with new modern motors. We have a guy on our team, Lewis Forrest, that is hands down one of the best mechanical guys around. He rewires them, replumbs them. new hydraulic system, all, you know, everything that makes them work without having to tinker with them all the time. You know, we that's the stuff we try to keep in check, keep the maintenance low for the owners, to where all they have to do is jump on them and enjoy them. We try to do the heavy lifting for them as far as replacing boards and bottom boards and keels. And I just put a stem on East Hampton last week. You know, we're trying to keep the big, you know, the big projects knocked down, and you know, those folks love, you know, everybody who's enjoying it loves what we're doing. So
Once you get on top of them, they're not that bad. I mean, we're supposed to pull Linda Carroll up this week, and then towards the end of the week, and me and Bill were talking about it today. We're hoping we can just paint the bottom, put it back in the water, and that's saying something,
Right.
I mean, how old is
We
she?
were truly blessed with Bill Mullis. When Bill Mullis came to me and told me what he wanted to do, I agreed to help him, and we worked out a deal. And his attitude was, I want it the
Right.
best that it can be. I don't want a corner cut, not one. I want everything to be the best that it can be. And that's the way we did her. And when I would call him and I would say, Bill, you want A or B? And he said, well, what would you do if it was your boat? And I would say, well, if it was my boat and I had all the money in the world, I would use A. And he would say, do what you want to do. And so you don't find customers like that all the time. And we were blessed in that. And the other thing that,
significance of that boat, you know, that boat has a great history, like the East Hampton. That boat has a great history, and everybody just
And
loves it.
he's got the love for the boats, kind of
Yep,
like we do.
absolutely.
Bill loves that boat.
Yes, sir.
And for her to
He thinks a lot of that boat.
sit there as that showpiece says a lot too. You know.
it really does. You know, I've said to many people many times though, when he came to me and he asked me if I could do it, and I said, well, we can certainly look at it and see what we can do. We'll do the best we can do with it. And I went about looking for a crew, and I didn't have anybody other than Sid Inslee, who is a #1 first class help. Any way you cut it, he was my man. Passed on now, and I miss him terribly, but he helped me with that boat, and I picked up Scott Parkinson and his brother-in-law Jerry and Lewis and Dan and Nick, and even my middle son, baby son Jeffrey, helped us a little bit. But I could not have asked for a better crew, and they're still with me today. All of them except Jeffrey. He's moved to Colorado. He don't want anything to do with workboats. So I could not have done this work without my team. I mean, it has been a total team effort, and it still is. Like I said before, I have a hard time climbing. I have a hard time with staging, ladders, any of that kind of stuff. My legs hurt. I'm just too old to do it. But these boys, they knock it out. And Scott and Lewis, they're right on the case. I mean, it's just everything just clicked for us for some reason. Bill Mullis and I talk all the time, and we say all the planets and everything aligned when we got to Linda Carroll, because she had been laying up in New York for years, scuttled, and the guy up there begged somebody to come and get it. I mean, it was sunk. It was all kinds of things. And Bill went up and looked at it, and he drug it home with one of his other boats and put it in his backyard and sunk again. And he called Nick, and I went up there and looked at it, and we said, the only way to approach this is take it apart, and if we can fix it, we'll fix it, and if we can't, we'll put it in a dumpster and send it up the road. And so we got to doing that, and all of us, and when we got
Brutal teardown.
down to the bottom, there was nothing left but the bottom and the transom. All the rest of it was gone.
Well, I'm glad I got to witness all that. I saw the process.
Yeah.
But I've been researching the Deadrise Builders of Pocosin, and I've been researching Odell, and we think that today everybody's complaining because you can't find good help, and there's nobody wants to do the labor work, and we think that's something new. But back in the 70s, he was saying that he could not find good help because he said anybody that was worth anything already had a job.
Well, Mr. Odell was like that, and he had a point, no doubt. And when people say, why don't you get a couple of young boys and teach them how to do what you're doing? I said, I wouldn't do that to them. That'd be a terrible thing to do to anybody, because it's a lot of work, and it's out in the weather. I mean, you don't get many days inside, and you might get a good customer, you might not. You might get paid, you might not. I mean, it's a very it's not a real great job to have.
Right.
Now, when you get like I and Dan and Nick, we are, I would say, in the senior part of it. I mean, we've been doing it so long that people trust us and so on and so forth. But a younger guy would have a hard time doing it. And the other thing is, you get into fiberglass, and I don't do that for anybody. It's just not worth it. So we like the wooden part. We like to do the wooden stuff, and like I said, we just love it. It's in my blood, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
At this point.
And Dan, you've done some steel fabricating and all, so I mean that's a whole nother side of it. That
Everything's a building block to get to where we are now. We repowered 3 boats in the past 2 years, and all of that, building motor mounts and bracketry and things for stuff to sit on. All of that goes right back to the welding. It's just another facet that makes me like doing this better now, as opposed to when I was younger. When this was a different game, and I've done a lot of different jobs, machinist jobs and welding jobs and stuff like that, and it all kind of comes around. I sort my job out better. The guys we have with us, they trust me to put them in the right place at the right time, and time management and budget, and there's a lot to it that all of us, it's all a big compromise. He likes to do things one way, I like to do it another. We collaborate and we get it done, and it 9 times out of 10 it is perfection. I mean, it just playing off of all our knowledge, trying to get all the knowledge out on the table and figure the best way from point A to point B and what's going to look the best. And we're nailing it right now. I think the East Hampton will show where we're at. We've done several restorations, interiors. We've done a lot of different things past couple of years that are really kind of tuning us up for better stuff to come. So. And I'm excited. I think more work will come. I think more. Yeah. More people. People hate to see this wooden boat thing go away.
Right.
I mean, I personally, I never want to see it go away. I mean, I think it's a great tip of the hat to our small town, and ingenuity and all of this. The guys that work these boats every day. The history of these boats that. It's incredible. It really is. It's so many layers to it. I like the building part of it. I like the builders. I have a lot of admiration for all of it. But
Well, that's why we're sitting here right now capturing this story. Because everybody loves it and interested in it. And you talking about managing and accounting and inventory and all that. And they were showing me a little notebook. Just a little pocket notebook that Odell used to keep in his pocket, and every time he would use a screw, a nail, or anything, he would write it in under that boat, and keep a list of everything. I mean, you got to keep track of it.
Bill has some neat paperwork from when the Linda Carroll was built. He was telling me about from when she was purchased, how much it was, and how much the nails were, how much the lumber was. I mean, incredible stuff. Those boats are all coming up on 100 years old.
We were looking at some screws just yesterday that today's prices are crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they're well over $1 a piece.
Yeah. And Nick, I saw the vintage that you did, and I mean, you've done a lot of work too. So I mean,
That boat was a shit show when I bought it. So I paid $2,500 for it. It wasn't nothing but a hull. And, we went down to Gates County and bought enough juniper to do the washboards and put a pilot house on it. And at that point, I had kind of run out of money, so I just kind of threw some pine plank flooring in it and painted it up, did the best I could do, and had a blast. Absolutely, probably one of the best years of my life was running up and down the bay in that.
yeah.
And, sold it, bought Emily, and that turned into a long, drawn-out nightmare, but we got it done. And
Well, she's a popular boat now with
Yeah,
that house
well,
you put on her and that,
yeah.
the glass and all.
yeah, I'll say a few things I'd have done
Nick's
different.
always had the eye for it, looks good, there's no doubt about it.
Well, me and Dan have done this end of it, and we worked on $1 Million Vikings for 15 years. It blew water, and we saw both ends of the spectrum, and we would try to bring some of that into, and that's all I did. I mean, when I put the pilot house on that boat, I was drunk one night and sketched it out on a napkin. That looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And there it is. That's how it ended up.
But like your dad said, that wood shavings and sawdust a whole lot better than that fiberglass.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is some
Oh
terrible
boy.
stuff.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And I could not have done any of it without him.
Yeah.
Dad helped me with both of them boats. And I remember the night we were in the garage, and I was trying to explain to him how we were going to do how I wanted to do the front window in that boat. And he looked at me like I was crazy, and he kept messing with it. And I don't know if I did the right thing or not. But
Well, she's the only one in the world. Like it.
Yeah. That's right.
She is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done none of it without him. I mean, he taught me all that end of it. I mean, and I loved it. I mean, I go to bed thinking about it, wake up thinking about it. Just
But that's an important part of
you
this as
love
well.
it. You love it. You get done, drink a beer, and sit on the tailgate of your truck at the end of the day and look at what you've done, and you're proud of it.
All of the real boat builders and the watermen that were, real watermen and all, it's all been generation to generation, handed down through the family. Growing up, helping your dad, your granddad, or whoever.
Dan's got a boat he's redoing right now, and he has gone top notch all the way on it. And that's going to be something to be seen when it's done.
I hear that.
That's
When I was working at NASA, I used to hate Sunday afternoon because I knew Monday was coming. That's how bad I hated to go over there. And it was a great job. Don't get me wrong. It was a wonderful
You
job.
want to tell them what you were doing at NASA?
Was a model maker. I
Yeah.
built model airplanes.
built wind tunnel.
Wind tunnel models. We built wind tunnels. We worked on wind tunnels. But what the point is, Nelson, Bubba Joe used to say to me, Darn, he said, I can't imagine hating to see Monday come. He said, I can't wait to see Monday come so I can go up James River. He loved oystering and crabbing and everything he did in the water. He just loved it. And I thought, man, what a way to live. What a way to live. And since I retired from NASA, that's how I live. I can't wait for Monday morning. I love every day, and I hate to get so tired I have to come home every day. I mean, it's just, when you love what you're doing, you never spend a day at work.
Right.
I think most boat builders, if you could get right down to the honest fact of the matter, they love it more than anything else. I know Grover Lee and Edward and Francis and those guys, they just love it, and they really do. It's kind of a competitive thing, about who can build the best one. But every one of them appreciates the other one.
Sure.
I don't think there's much jealousy. Like Jimmy. Jimmy's built some beautiful boats. I mean, beautiful boats. And to see him the other night on this video that you did with him, I just enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, but I admire what he did with all them boats. He must have built 25 or 30. I don't know how many he built, but he was something else. Jimmy was. He could make something happen. And all of the old boat builders are just about gone.
Mm-hmm.
We're not boat builders. We're boat refurbishers.
We're in the restoration business.
I think if you built a brand new one today, you couldn't sell it. You'd have to ask so much for it.
Right.
You might as well go buy a fiberglass boat as to buy a wood one.
Well, I gotta say, I appreciate Bill Keeling building the one he's building
I'm
because
jealous. I wish I had the place to do it.
He looks like he's doing a good job.
Absolutely.
Bill's doing what I'm doing. He's enjoying every day.
Yeah, exactly.
He
He
can't wait to get
does
up in the
enjoy
morning.
it.
Yes.
Yes.
I bet you.
He has done his time, and now he's enjoying himself, and that's a wonderful thing. I mean,
He's gonna have a nice boat when he's done.
I grew up on the boats. I worked on the boat with my dad, and I've been around them all my life, but I had never been a part of a build like this, watching him go from start to finish, you know.
That's
So,
what
I
we
mean, I
grew up
appreciate
with.
it.
Me and Dan were kids. We go out and shop. My dad had one upside down. Next thing you know, he'd have it flipped over. And there'd be 25 people at the house Saturday afternoon. They're rolling one over.
I never grew up with the idea that things weren't possible. To see him come home after working a full-time job and spend 4-6 hours in the garage at night working, pulling in sideboards or cutting frames. Just, stand there and cut frames after he's worked a job all day. Come and cut frames all night,
well, that's what my dad did.
absolutely, I never thought anything was impossible. It would go from a pile of lumber in the yard to a boat, and hauling it down the road with a tractor. When they were done, and the big parties had the big.
Oh yeah, gotta have the chicken at the end.
Chicken at the end.
Well, I've already figured out that there isn't anything that y'all can't do with a piece of wood.
I don't know about that.
You can take a piece of wood and do anything. You ain't been stumped yet.
We do our best.
If it comes to a spiral staircase or whatever it may be, you know.
Well, there again, I mean, to me, that's part of the enjoyment is trying to do something nobody else has done, or trying to do it better than anybody else has ever done it.
You're your own worst critic. You try to outdo yourself.
Sure.
You do one thing to look good. If I had to do to Emily again today, she wouldn't look like that.
Yeah.
It just you want to up your game every time you do it.
Right.
When I told Bissett that I wanted to put a spiral staircase on the back of the I of a W, he said, "Yeah, right." I said, "No, I'm serious. I'll put one on there for you if you want me to." He said, "You can't." I said, "Yeah, well, I'll do it," and I did.
It was the perfect solution.
Yep.
It was the perfect solution to
It really was.
a problem that would not go away. And the way that boat was butchered, you had to have some kind of an answer there. We really made a yacht out of a horse turd.
She was so nice to look at on the inside. It was just when you had to look at the outside.
Yeah, she was. But anyway,
It was a pity.
we enjoyed it. We had a
lot of hours on that boat.
many hours and lots and lots of work on that
A couple
boat.
crazy boat rides.
Yeah. Yeah. But
We
it's all
brought her
good.
home that morning. We brought her home. We went up there to bring her, and the creek was froze over.
Yeah.
Me and him were standing on the bow. I said, I don't know if this is the smartest thing we've ever done, Chief." She was cutting through ice, and we had dug, when we pulled her up later on, we had dug that deep in her side.
Oh yeah.
Had no idea.
And then y'all coming down the
She was
bay.
quivering.
He's standing there making his cup of coffee beside you. Yeah.
Nobody driving the boat.
She was on automatic pilot.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah.
The best part was we were about wolf trap, and he cut it off. He said, "Well, I can't check the fuel with it running." I was like, "You don't cut one off. You don't cut
no.
one off out here."
We were Smith Point, right in the mouth of the Rappahannock.
Where we were?
No, the Potomac, right at the mouth of the Potomac. He cut her off to check the oil.
Man.
Scott, never cut an engine off in the middle of the channel.
Yeah.
And it was cold. This was
Was it still dark?
February.
Huh?
Was it still dark?
No, it was daylight.
Oh, okay.
3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
We left Harrington Harbor at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We had been steaming south all day, and it was late in the afternoon when
Our nerves were shot at that point.
Yeah.
We were gonna make it to Bacosa.
we didn't get out of ice until we were almost down to Solomon's Island before we got out of window pane ice, and it near about cut the bottom off of her. But we had been told by the people up there was no ice in the bay.
It was light ice and
It was window pane ice.
Nothing to worry
Yeah, it was
about.
cold. Yeah.
You could see her shivering
Yeah.
coming all the way down the river. Oh, Chief, and it was cold. You wouldn't want to get in that water.
Yeah, we've seen and done some stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, that's one.
55th down
Memories.
here Last year.
Huh?
I brought the 55th Virginia down from Urbana last year. And it was pea soup. Ran on looking in the radar the whole way home. 4 or 5 hours and nothing but steam and looking in the radar. That pea soup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Right?
Yeah.
But that's one of the main things people are after. You done it, you know? You done
I
so
think
many
so.
different things, and
Well, to me, I mean, when people want to know what do you think about this problem or that problem, it's not just a matter of fixing it. It's fixing it the way it works best with the application that you're using. I mean,
There's a right way and a wrong way.
we try to make these boats more applicable to the use of the boat. If you're crabbing, we try to fix them for crabbing. We put fiberglass on the sides, and we do the things it takes to
Self-bailing
make them boats.
cockpits.
Self-bailing cockpits,
a
we
lot
put
with
in a
the
bunch of
Dixons.
those. Yeah,
We've done a lot of work with the Dixons.
but it's all been a fun time. It's all been a fun time.
oh yeah.
Lots of boats. LT Riggins, we did her before. Sid and I did her before we had the crew. Now she was built at 24. East Hampton was built in 25. Ivy W was built in 31. Or 29.
31.
31. East Linda Carroll was 31.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. I was when the Carol's 31.
I think Ivy W was 29.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're really relics. They really are relics. The LT Riggins, Odell and his brother Sid built her to go oystering in for themselves. And they oystered a couple of years, decided they wanted to go back and build the boats, but she was an old girl when we fixed her up, and
She was that far away from the scrap pile.
I told Miss Shirley, I said, she said, can you save her? And I said, well, the answer is I can give you 10 years. After 10 years, all bets are off. And he got rid of her this year. She's not scrapped yet, but she's weak. She's really weak. So, but anyway, it's been a lot of fun doing that stuff, saving them boats.
And all of them are just one owner away from being scrap pile.
Oh yeah.
All it takes is if they fall into the wrong hands.
One bad owner.
One bad owner, 10 years. It don't matter how good they are.
Yep. I know it.
It's sad. We've seen a lot of good ones get cut up and burn up.
Been many a one cut up at York Haven.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well,
You just
the
can't
boat
say
I built
no.
for Doug Scott
Yep.
was an outstanding boat. I mean, it was a thick, heavy, nice built boat, and lack of care, she went away. I mean, and it happens all the time, when the top work gets rotten and then the bottom gets rotten, then it's too late then. So,
There ain't no shame in having a bad spot in a boat, but the shame is when you don't deal with it. You just let it sit there, and it
It's
just
not
keeps
gonna get
getting
small.
bigger and bigger.
It's not going to and small.
And I tell him,
It's not gonna go away.
I tell everybody all the time, when you start cutting on a wooden boat, you have no idea where you're gonna stop.
You
No,
got
that's
that right.
right. Look at P.E. Pruitt.
Yeah.
But Sid Inslee's boat, we did the same thing with her. He brought it to me and he said, I don't care what's wrong with it, just fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And then next weekend he came down and everything was gone but the bottom and the transom. He said, oh my God, what have you done? I said, you said to get rid of everything that was... So she was brand new from the waterline up. And he was hard on a boat. He was clamming and he was working her guts out. And,
Patting tongs, twisting them all the time.
well, she was little and she was old. She was an old boat. But anyway, he got a lot of good years out of her. She's gone now, but
Made a good living.
yeah,
That was Bonnie's old boat.
yeah. She was a used.
Yeah. She had her guts worked out before he got it. Money.
He brought her on the trailer and put her in the shop at my house and rebuilt her all right there. That 86, 87, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up actually working with Sid on my summers off from school, counting clams every day. But I, just going with him every day. And he was a good man.
Yeah, he was. He was
Kept
that.
a clean boat. He worked every day. He didn't care if it was raining or blowing. We would just go.
Whatever he told you, you could take it to the bank.
Yes.
Guarantee you that.
Good man. Honest man. Good man. Can't say enough good stuff about him. He was a great guy.
Him and Dad like just get around and talk about everybody.
Can't argue that.
If them two were together, I guarantee you somebody was a hot topic.
A lot of good times. We had a lot of good times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember we carried East Hampton down there at Harbor Fest. He'd always put her on the railway 2 or 3 weeks before, and she looked like a brand new penny every year we carried her down there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd be uptight and everything till we get the boat tied up. But on the way home, good God, we had some good times.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's a disease.
and then you ended up getting your dream boat when you was a young man. You used to dream about
Swooner.
yeah.
Oh boy, I've heard many stories.
When I
about
was
the
in high
Swooner.
school, Odell built those 3 boats, and the owners requested that they be towed to Deltaville, and they wanted them people in Deltaville. It was
Eagle, wasn't it?
no, it was come to me in a minute. But anyway, he said, I want them to look as much like an Egg Harbor, which back in the 60s, Egg Harbors were top of the line yachts.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't no Vikings back then. It was Egg Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I want them to look as much like an Egg Harbor as you can make them look. And those people up there did it. And when they brought them down the bay, I thought without fail, they were the 3 prettiest boats in the Chesapeake Bay. They were beautiful. They belonged to Dave Carpenter, his dad, and his brother. My boat belonged to his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the biggest one. And I used to think one of these days I'm gonna own a boat like that. And when it became available, I just did that thing. But I have completely redone it at this point, and it doesn't hardly bear any resemblance to
No,
the old part, the old boat. But Odell built a nice boat. He really did. Odell built a lot of wood, a lot of good fasteners. Every joint fit like it's supposed to. He was quite a craftsman. He really was.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at one of his boats from a mile away and tell it's one of his boats. I mean, he's just got, they got that look that he built the J and Hazel V and Sandy Bay and all of them. I mean, you knock the cabins off of them, they all look exactly alike. And my boat's the same way. Now, if I didn't have a cabin on it and you put them beside the Sandy Bay, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, other than she's got a round stern, my boat doesn't. My boat's, but he had a style, and he was a good boat builder. He really was. He built a mini one too. I don't know how many he built. Probably a couple hundred. Because he did it for a living.
Right.
My dad did it kind of like a hobby. I mean, he made a few bucks doing it, but he worked at NASA for a living and retired and went to boat building. But Odell did it full time all of his life. So I don't know how many he built, but many, many, many. He built a deck boat or two. He built the he built it for Poggy Evans, I think. She's up in Baltimore right now. She's for sale. I can't remember the name of it. It was named after his two daughters, Odell's, Poggy's daughters. Mildred Bell.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
built the Mildred Bell. And she was a nice boat. And still is, as far as I know. They have her in Baltimore doing classroom work. Taking kids out and showing them how the boats work and all that kind of stuff.
Well, if that's what they've been doing, well, I mean, I know that's, I know about her and that's what they're doing. So with them doing that, she has to be in pretty good shape for them to be certified to be taking them out and everything.
Yeah, well, that, and I think the state of Maryland owns it.
Okay.
And I don't think money is an issue.
Right.
When they need something, they put it on there. I mean, it's well maintained, let's put it that way. Now, it's not yachty.
Right.
The workboat look is still there. But they take good care of it. It needs a new board, they put a new board in it. And she's got a new motor in her. She's in good shape. But she's an old one too. I think she was built in the 30s or the 40s. Yeah. Odell built many a boat. God, I can't even imagine how many.
They were saying that when they had the place over on Browns Neck Road, that Odell had a skiff he would take across the creek to go to work.
Right, right.
And Lewis has said that the trees to build the Louise, his granddaddy's boat, that they were cut right there on that property.
Right, right. Well, that was a tradition that was handed down for years and years and years. I mean, all of the boats that were built in New Point, all the East Hampton, all those boats were built from Matthews, Yellow Pine. I mean, all of them. And the East Hampton had boards in it. Still got them, some of them. 18 inches wide in the front and 6 or 8 inches in the stern and 55 feet long.
Yeah.
2.5 inches thick. It takes 6 or 8 men to put that thing up on the boat. I mean, you can't even think about buying timber like that.
No.
And, you sand the paint off of her, you can smell the turpentine. I mean, it's just Virginia heart pine is what it is. And it's good stuff. Good stuff. And Odell did the same thing. His boats were the J and the Hazel V. I've helped them overhaul them boats, and you sand the paint off of them, and you can just smell the turpentine in them. They're good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad never did that. My dad never used pine. He always used juniper.
Okay.
He built juniper boats. White cedar.
Well, to me, that's about the best wood it's going to last, right? Or is
Well,
it?
it's good. It's good for lasting.
Yeah.
It ain't good for oystering and crabbing and stuff like that because it's so soft. You beat it up so bad. Have to use scuff boards everywhere on them boats. But to answer your question, I still think it would have been a better boat than a pine one. But
Yeah.
one thing is light. The proudest Seaford was juniper, all juniper,
Yeah.
and she could run her butt off. She was light. She's nice and heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, she's built heavy.
Old man Johnny Belvin built my daddy's boat. It was built out of juniper.
Juniper.
And I can tell you that, I mean, he had her and worked her almost his whole life because he was like 20 or something when he got her.
Your dad?
Yeah. And the whole time we worked her, we never had to put a piece of wood in her. The only piece of wood we ever put in her was when we moved the engine to the back and gouged out the shaft alley and put a new block on the end. That's the
Yeah.
only piece of wood we put in her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That Smiley Jenkins you had was like that. The old Alice W. She was all juniper. The diamond stern.
Is that the red one?
The green one.
the green one.
The
Yeah.
green one. We put the roundhouse on.
Yeah.
She was all
carrying dot.
Carrying out, that's what.
Yep.
That was the boat that Tom had.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was
all-
Bobby Ray West boat. She was
So-
the Alice W.
Yeah.
She used to lay right up there off James Wilker's dock.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the juniper came out of Carolina, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely. Where it grows in the Dismal Swamp.
Mm.
Getting your hands on it is the problem.
Back then, it was no trouble to get it, but it is now. I mean, it's hard to get now.
Right.
She was 2 inches thick, too. Full 2 inches. She was a big boat. Yeah. Diamond stern. Smiley Jenkins built her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Marin told me that Smiley built him the Thomas J, and the whole time he had her, worked her, she never had an electric bilge pump in her, that she never leaked a drop.
Yeah, yeah. The one he had, she didn't like that.
East Hampton never leaked much. Very, very little.
The water would get stagnant in her bilge when she pumped it, take your breath away. It's been in there so long.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, they were nice boats. I mean,
Circling back around to his, a couple of the upgrades we did last fall, we fiberglassed his boat all over, 1808, just to
To the water line.
the water line. And repowered, put some nice Volvo, 250 horsepower.
Mm.
It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
Mm.
you know, to love a boat that long and then get it in the condition that he's got her in, it's just tip top. I mean, it's tip top all over.
Right.
Yeah, just up to a couple of years ago, every weekend we'd be down there doing something on it.
Yep.
And now, you might go down there and wash it.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
And you.
like kind of what we were saying about the Linda Carroll. He's got it to the point where, you know, once you get on top of them, they're not the nightmare that everybody makes them out to be. But
Right.
That's
these
exactly
guys that work them for a living, they have a hard, it's hard to work one and keep up. I think working them keeps them alive. Getting that salt water on,
Oh,
worst
yeah.
thing you can do
That's
is tie
right.
one up to the dock and not do nothing with it.
Mm.
Fresh water and UV, the sun tears them to pieces.
And you said you fiberglass it down to the water line. It looks to me that you see some people go ahead and fiberglass the whole old wooden boat. When they fiberglass the bottom, I ain't never seen nothing positive out of that.
I'm kind of on the fence about it. I mean, I've seen some of them do real nice jobs. A couple of them boats up in Gloucester,
But
I think
it's true with anything, Alice. The right answer to that is this. If you do it like it's supposed to be done,
yeah,
you won't have any trouble. And if you don't, you will have trouble.
yeah, delaminate.
Right.
And then if they sit on the shore, they're holding all that fresh water in them and everything. I
You
mean,
use polyester resin. I mean, that's
you gotta use.
you gotta use epoxy, and you gotta do it right, or it just won't work. That's
And you
all.
gotta put enough of it on there to build an eggshell. I mean, if you don't put a 1/4 inch on it, you're wasting your time.
That's right. That's right.
If you don't, you've gotta make it thick enough to stay.
I worked in Carolina building charter boats that go out of Oregon Inlet every day. Built out of juniper, plank on frame. I mean, they look like a bike, and they look like but they're wooden boats, plank on frame wooden boats. They're glassed over, and they look like fiberglass. I mean, I got a big belly full of fiberglass and boats down there, and you know we fiberglass the bottom of them, and I'm not opposed to. I've seen it work. Like
now,
Matt said, under the
new
right conditions.
construction, I think you're fine.
Absolutely.
But an old boat, and you try to do that, I
All
think
that
you're in
old
trouble.
Bilge and years of bottom paint. I just don't know how they make it stick.
Yeah,
Did you work around Man's Harbor or?
I worked for Buddy Davis for a couple of years. Actually worked in the interior shop there, building cabinetry, staircase,
Okay.
bed. But I worked for Taylor Harrison down there. Taylor made boats. We built plank on frame wooden boats. And a guy would come pick them up on a trailer and take them to Wanchese, and we would launch. But we actually worked right on the beach.
Okay.
Behind the T-tops racing where the Golden Gears and there's a little area in Nags Head there with an industrial park, but we worked right there in town. And I was down there roughly 4 years, lived down there. And I learned a lot. It was another building block to, you know, just kind of, like Nick said, we worked at Blue Water. We got to, you know,
And he brought
all this sort of
everything he learned down there. He brought it up here, and we mix it into what we do today. I mean, everything we've done at Blue Water down there, we picked up something, and we see that we try to pick up the best way to do things and use it.
Sure.
We try to use that in the application.
That's what it's all about.
yeah, fit and finish is,
Yeah.
you know, that last 10% you do is the first 10% people see when they walk up to that boat. You know, that's where my whole mindset all the time. You know, what are you gonna look at when you walk down the dock? Well, there's the first thing you see. We can't do, you know. You know, there's stuff that you have to spend time on. You have to fit good. You have to paint good. You have to primer good. You know, there's. I'm a stickler. We go round and round about it. I'm a stickler for all these little details. But
Right.
like I say, it's a compromise. We got to get the job done too. So
Right.
we're all in the same boat. We're all doing the same thing every day. It's the art of compromise.
Dan's more faceted than me and Dad. He can do the welding. I mean, there's not much that Dan can't do. I know when I get in the jam, he's the first one I call. I mean, if I don't call that one first, but
I always call him first, and then I'll call.
oh yeah, no.
So,
Between the three of us, we usually figure it out.
That's right.
so is there a grand announcement we want to make tonight or anything, or?
Well, I'm thinking around the beginning of November, we're kind of pushing towards having all of this under one business name, be Rollins Marine. It's just retail boat parts, but also if you want to contact us about work or whatever. And it's me and Dad Nick, the crew that we have currently. Nothing changes, just that it'll give us an opportunity to sort of show some of the work that we're doing. We'll be able to post it on Facebook and have a page for people to just look at some of the. We get to see a lot of neat stuff, a lot of neat boats, a lot of parts of boats that people don't get to see a lot, and a lot of neat boats. We were working on a 1925 Elko. That was built for the DuPont family. We repowered and did some interior work on that last year, and it was absolutely phenomenal to see how that boat was built in relationship to the rest. It's a different take on the same work, but it was a very satisfying job. We had a lot of fun doing it.
It's coming back for phase 2, isn't it?
It is. It is. We're excited to see those guys. There's stellar guys to work for. They have very, very good ideas on how the boat should look. It's also coming up on 100-year-old. So, it's a nice job. And it's nice to have a change of pace. It's not the same boat every day. It's not the same work every day. It's not the, we're very blessed that we're not even in the same location every time we work on stuff. So
Right.
We sort of travel around a little bit doing it.
Well, I'd say your life growing up together and with your dad and you're with your granddad and all before, and here we are 2024 and y'all three still sitting right here together, got it going on, and even starting we'll call it a new venture, another chapter. I mean that's success.
Well, a couple of years ago, he got sick, a couple years ago, he got sick, and I never felt like, I felt guilty the whole time I was at work. And I was like, I haven't spent enough time, I haven't bridged the gap between, I've worked on boats and he's worked on, we all, life kind of got in the way of our relationship a little bit, and kind of came back around. A couple years ago, I was just in the position where I was like, well, I could spend that time with him, no holds barred. Just let's go and do this. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I mean, I'm old enough to know that even if it doesn't work out, we're still going to have a good time. And we're having a blast. We're getting a lot of work done. We're making up for a lot of lost time. It's 100% positive, for us, and moving forward, it's no regrets. We have good lunches every day. We laugh a lot. We joke.
There's plenty of that.
You already know. Yeah. You
Oh,
don't have thick skin.
boy.
Oh yeah. You don't have thick skin.
We
So
spend a lot of time joking.
So what? Everybody gets a nickname. So you've had Butterbean. You've had is it Dusty or Sandy or?
We can't really say all the nicknames.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, I know. But yeah, y'all have fun.
Yeah, most of them are F-rated.
Oh boy.
Well, if you can't have a good time,
All right.
you might as well be in the shipyard.
Well, we've been going at this for an hour now, and y'all told a great story. It's been very interesting to sit back and listen, and people are going to appreciate this. You got any words of wisdom or?
No, I'm just very, 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 very grateful that I've been lucky enough to do this for a while and to have them with me, and to have our customers. We've got the best customers and the best people, and we've just enjoyed it all. I mean, I think watermen in general are just top of the line people, because they work for a living, and they want you to work. They want you to work too, and they appreciate your work.
Yeah.
We don't work for people that don't appreciate us, and we have a good time. I've just been blessed. That's all. I've just been blessed, like all of us. But when I got sick 2 years ago, I thought it was over, to tell you the truth, and I've been able to get back to it, and I'm very grateful for that. But had I not gotten back, I still would have had a great retirement and a great life. And I look around in here and I see things that I've worked on all my life, and it's just hard to believe that it's over. The time has gone by so quickly. If you get a day, you better enjoy it. Is all I got to say.
Yeah.
They won't keep coming.
Make each day count.
And make every day count and enjoy yourself. And if you can't be with a woman, you can be on a boat. That's all I got to say.
Oh boy.
If the good Lord made anything better than a woman, it was a boat.
I hear that.
But
Look.
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed my life. I really have.
Dan, you got any last words or?
No, sir. Onward and upward.
Come on,
Keep
Nick.
going.
I don't know. Just keep digging. I don't know.
That's it. And we didn't even mention all the interiors and scallop boats and all that, and tugboats and.
No, we're getting ready to pull the first and last up, and that's gonna. Bill wants to pull the trigger and give that an inside and out. So.
I thought y'all just pretty much redid her.
Well, she looks good on the outside. We just gotta get. Needs new floor, new engine box.
Right.
Motor needs to be rebuilt. We need to kind of see what she's made of.
She still got the pat and tong rig on her.
Yeah, we're gonna fiberglass her sides. That's coming up here in the next couple weeks. Try to use this good weather while we got it.
Do it at York Haven.
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Little shout out to those guys. They're great. They
Yeah,
they
Starkey,
accommodate us first class.
Starkey Micro, top notch.
Mike Starkey, the service there, top notch is all I can say. And Kimberly at White House Cove, also, Dad and I both have boats there. We also have a service lift there where we work on stuff, and top notch people. We have good people in our lives, and that, those people allow us to do what we do also.
Yeah, right.
That's a big part of doing what we do, is having people that are, tolerant of
Sawdust.
a little
Yeah.
a little sawdust.
Everybody around us has to be a little patient.
That's it.
I've been accused of being clean.
Nothing quite as nasty as sawdust. But it's, a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't.
Right. Well, I would choose sawdust over anything else. 'Cause, I mean, that's natural. All this,
Doesn't itch.
yeah, all this man-made mess. You can get in a real jam with that. Oh boy. But, well, this has been great. I appreciate all your time, and I appreciate you sitting down with me and telling the story. And yeah.
Well, it's the kind of thing you could talk for hours and days, It's just
Oh
nothing.
yeah.
You just try to take the icing off the top. It's a little bit
Like
hard to
outside.
do.
Kind of hard to sum up.
Like our lunch the other day, we talk about a boat, or we talk about a story from the old days almost every day. And we go have a sit down lunch every day, and we kick around the history part of it, or what's coming up. It's
Right. The only thing missing is the fire in the wood stove. 'Cause, I mean, this is how they've done it for generations and generations. Go to the store and sit around the old potbelly stove and
absolutely.
tell stories all night.
That's
Yeah.
another month. It'll be a fire in there.
Uh-huh.
Well, I tell these guys, and people don't believe it, but when we were little, my brother Will and I were little, Daddy would walk down to Samuel Moore's store every night, and they had a coal stove sitting in the corner, and there would be 10 of them down there. And me and Will would sit behind them. We weren't allowed to sit up on the front row. We had to sit, and we had to keep our mouths shut and listen, But they were sailing canoes and oystering, and they were as busy as they could be, living their lives, planting, harvesting. I mean, it was just amazing. But that was before television. I hate to tell
yeah.
anybody I'm that old, but Mom and Daddy got the first television, or pretty much the first television, on Buttons Lane, and every Thursday night, all the men on Buttons Lane would come to our house to watch the fights.
Oh boy.
I mean, boxing.
Uh-huh.
Can you believe that? And it was black and white.
Yeah.
I'd never seen nothing like that before. You hear it on the radio, but you never saw it before. It's amazing how much has changed since I was a baby.
You have seen a lot of change in your lifetime.
Yes, I have. I tell people all the time, Mom and Daddy used to get groceries at A&P in Hampton, and they'd go every Saturday night. And they would take me and Will, and we would go to Fishman's, and Fishman's had this center pit in the middle of the store. They would sell candy by the pound. They had food.
Yeah.
And there was a sign on the back of the building, blacks, whites, bathrooms, blacks and white. They weren't allowed to use the same. That's how much things have changed since I came along.
Right.
Hard to believe, but that's true. Yeah, I remember when the blacks wanted to go to Buckrow Beach, and they didn't want them to go, and the federal government made them let them go. It was in the early 60s, I'm thinking. I don't remember because we weren't involved in any of that, but
Right.
they actually put fire hoses on them when they tried to come in the gate. I mean, can you imagine that today? I mean,
Yeah.
people just don't know.
Ignorant.
Mama used to hang all of our clothes out on the line to dry.
Sure.
Have
That was
dry.
in I know
She had a
that.
wringer washer, she'd run her wet clothes through. Yeah, I'd say things have changed a little bit since I was a little fella.
I remember we'd go Saturday night, and every Saturday night, and go get us a 20-cent cheeseburger and a 10-cent French fry, and
Yeah, that's right.
you could get the whole works with a milkshake for under $1. You know.
When I was a senior, Daddy would let me use the car and give me $5. We'd go see a movie, go to Carol's and get 2 hamburgers, 2 Cokes, and 2 fries for 25 cents.
I hear that. Oh,
And
boy.
put $2 worth of gas in the car.
Yeah.
So you get to pay for the gas, the movie, and the food on $5. Holy cow.
When I was that tall, my allowance was 50 cents a week, and you could get something for 50 cents. I mean, it was a good allowance.
Yep.
So,
When Will and I were little, we were working with Daddy in the boat shop. We'd work until lunchtime on Saturday, and he'd give us a quarter. And we'd go down to Samuel Moore's store and get a pack of BBs each and a candy bar, quarter. And we'd go birding every afternoon after work. But we had to work till lunchtime.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, we thought it was awful at the time, but I wouldn't take anything for it now.
Right.
I'm jealous. I wish I grew up 40 years earlier.
Yeah.
Go to drive-in theater.
Been in the drive-in
I-
theater.
You know, he was building boats in the shop when I was in high school, and I remember many times helping him do stuff.
Yeah.
We would go
A
to,
lot of kids were holding flashlights for their dad to work on the car. I was helping them fit bottom boards, or,
yeah.
sweep or vacuum out of bilge. I vacuumed out many a bilge in my life. Still doing it.
We'd go to Burger Chef on Jefferson Avenue and watch everybody across the street at Shoney's, because that was the hangout. All the hot rods and everybody be showing up there. And then we'd cruise into Anchor Drive-In, go see a movie. So,
The Anchor and the Sydney Lust and the one up here in Tab. I mean, there was 3 or 4.
York
drive-in.
Drive-In.
Yeah.
That's
The
right.
Anchor was up in Newport News.
Yeah.
Right, Shoney's. Right there at Shoney's, yeah. Yeah, done all that. Yeah. Actually, when we were little, Mom and Daddy used to go to the drive-in movies and take us, me and Will and Susan, and he had a 57 Chevrolet,
So did we.
and he would carry a blanket and pillows, and we would get in the back seat and go to sleep, and they would watch the movie. Yeah.
My daddy would set me in his lap, and I'd help him drive with that 57. It was
Yeah.
a 2-door hardtop.
That's
Bel
what Daddy
Air.
had. Bel Air. Yeah.
Tell
She
them,
was a pretty thing.
tell them what your favorite thing to do is now.
Yeah. Cell phone. Facebook.
Well,
A lot of time
Everybody,
on Facebook.
5 years ago, everybody had Facebook was, oh, damn it, what are y'all doing on the phone? What are y'all doing on the phones? He finally got on it. Now he absolutely loves it.
yeah.
He 4 o'clock in the morning, he's up there with his phone, boy.
All the difference is TV has gotten so common it ain't fit to watch.
Yeah.
And I can look at that phone, I can see people I know and see what they're doing, and you know.
Boats
He
and
loves it.
Well,
all kinds of stuff.
our whole lives have been tethered to this now.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
So I mean, is
It
that?
bothers me a little bit, but on the other hand, I wouldn't take nothing for it.
Yeah.
You know,
He really enjoys it.
when you're trying to work, you're mixing up West System and phone ring. What do? You let the West System go bad, or you answer the phone? Oh me, yeah, yeah.
Well, this has been great. I ain't trying to stay too long, take up
As
too
long
much
as
of
you
your
work
time,
together,
and
we ain't doing nothing.
but yeah, I really appreciate it. Like I was saying before, and I mean this means a lot, and it's something I've been wanting to do. And when I decided that I was going to take on this project of trying to go around the bay and get the information of all the Deadrise builders here in Virginia.
You do a good job with it.
I got people in Maryland saying, "Oh, come on, you need to come do it." I said, "Man, you know how long it's going to take me to do Virginia?"
Yeah.
We appreciate
And I
it.
remember 10 years ago, we used to look at National Fisherman.
Yeah.
And it was always in the back of National Fisherman what was going on in the local section. And it wasn't ever nothing what was going on in our world. And I'm like, God damn, Now all of a sudden it's out there, and it's like
I thought
you know.
I thought he hit his prime when he was in what were you in, National Fisherman? When they rebuilt Linda Carroll, that was 2014, 15.
Yeah.
They came down and did an interview with Dad, and like Nick said, that's always been sitting on a shelf somewhere for us to pick up and read, read material. But
That's Larry Tuning does that, and Larry's charge is to report on workboats, and these are not workboats. These are ex-work boats that are now pleasure boats, and he's not supposed to put them in there, but he does it occasionally anyway.
Yeah.
And he does nice art.
And he does nice work.
And Larry's a good guy, and
Yeah,
he and I have worked
really
together on
enjoys it.
several different
Yeah,
projects.
he's a
So,
great guy. He
He's
really
got a
is.
sickness just like we do.
yeah. And whenever I'm doing an event, all I do is call out Larry, come on down, bring your books. He'll be right there.
Yeah.
we saw him at
He and Bill were integral
And Bill,
in my,
too.
in my part. I mean, in
miss Bill.
the deck boat thing, Bill Height was a giant in that field.
When
He
I
could
would,
tell you things about boats that you didn't even know existed. I mean,
yeah.
he knew them all.
When I did the nautical displays in Yorktown, Bill and Scott were there.
Yeah.
And Larry. They were all right there.
Exactly.
Teamwork.
Bill loved a deck boat. Man, he loved a deck boat. Yeah, he sure did.
I've seen a couple people asking about the 55th Virginia, but I don't know. But y'all had her in pretty good shape, didn't you?
We put,
Well, yeah,
put,
she's-
put a new interior and new fuel tanks in it.
She's cosmetically, she's okay. I mean, she needs a lot of work. She's not very comfortable. She doesn't have a bathroom. She doesn't have any sleeping quarters down below or any of that.
Okay.
But all of that would be a fun project for somebody that wanted to do it.
Yeah. Sure.
She'd be a nice open boat. I'd saw all that off over and put a pilot house in the bow. And put a long awning on it.
Yeah.
It's a nice boat. Nice boat.
Big boat. It's wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I miss old Bill.
yeah, I know. I am going to miss him because he was a big contributor,
Him and
to.
Scott both. Him and Scott
Oh,
both.
yeah, right.
Great people, great human beings just to talk to.
And for both of them, right there, real close together and all. And,
Sure, that's
but, I mean,
Well, as you get older, you begin to think that, another one down,
Yeah.
And they just keep taking off one at a time, and pretty soon, I looked at Jimmy and Francis and me, and how much longer are we going to be able to go?
yeah.
4 or 5 more years at the most, probably, and it'll all be over,
Well,
except for these two rascals and whatever they decide to do.
right.
try to keep it going long as we can.
Rollins Marine's going to be going
We're
strong.
gonna try to keep it going long as we can, and if it all goes to shit tomorrow, we've had a hell of a good run.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, this is the third time, so we're going to do it this time. But thank you.
Wrap it up.
It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank
Alan.
you.